Hello, welcome to another video with me, Onyx. And I used to say full circle, but apparently it's slipped my mind. So welcome back to Full Circle with me, Onyx. And today's video is really interesting. The last few videos have been on psychic protection, and I decided I'm just gonna have to not worry about them anymore. I'm just going to drop them and let it be instead of a few minutes later go, oh my God, what am I saying? This self analysis, this critiquing of myself. While Jupiter was in Pisces, it really activated that double-sidedness of the Pisces nature. And I feel like it brought gifts, like integration with my higher self, but it also brought some negatives, that backpedaling, that it's for the first time in my life I've been experiencing like insecurities, and I'm like, why? It's so not my nature. But thank God Jupiter moved on to Aries. But let's move on. The reason why I'm making this video is because an acquaintance of mine started telling me this long drawn out story, which led to the psychic protection videos. Sometimes when I can't communicate to people directly, I'll make a video. Or if it's been something on my mind that's coming up repeatedly in the public in my life, then I'll make a video on it. Because I'm actually at the stage of my magical spiritual development where it's very much inward, you know, piercing the inner veils, having many inner experience, exploring the inner universe is kind of where I'm at. And even today, reflecting on some of the stuff that went on before COVID with my videos, I did a lot of sharing of inner knowledge of occult mysteries. And I feel like the higher powers that be were like, stop. And I'm like, why? It's so fun to share. And it's like, don't hand loaded guns to children. Don't even hand them a gun. And I couldn't see why. But, we evolve and grow. And part of the journey is you making it yourself with you go on that hero's journey. You take every step. You master your tools. You need to climb the tree of life. You need to ascend. And then it's like so worth it. And on one level, you're only reclaiming gifts that you already have. You're only rediscovering your own divinity. And I feel like that's important. So with this person, I frequently support this metaphysical store that specializes mostly in crystals. And I've been doing a lot of heart meditation, heart mind connection, that coherence, the Joe Dispenza. Like, I didn't like the way it was presented. It was very, I think, harsh and mechanical and rigid. But I took what I needed and went with it. So I made it more fluid and enjoyable. And that really wasn't the beginning. I was already directed by a higher power to explore the heart chakra as much as I've explored the third eye. And so it was just, right on my path. With the new awareness, um, with working with my heart chakra, it made the higher dimensions more integrative into my physical being and allowed a deeper integration with my angel, uh, who is freaking awesome. I'll kind of here's a little picture of him, kind of, a little sketch. But, anyways, so with this person, you know, she starts telling me this story, how she met this person, and she felt like maybe they had sex with her in the astral plane. Yeah, this video is not for kids. And she felt violated. And I'm like, yeah, that happens, when you don't got your basics, when you don't, I wouldn't say grid your room, but when you don't set your space for yourself, really owning the space that you live in. And then that setting of space also is really owning your aura and setting space within your own, really define yourself and, and really know what the fuck you're about. Um, and so she was telling me that maybe there was going to have to be some type of psychic battle. She's trying to get him away. He may have come to her a few times in her sleep. And I'm like, astral entities can take on any form. So it could have just chose to take on the form of a familiar person. It might not really be that person. So she believes this person came into her work and was flirting with her and was in some subtle way letting her know that he was the one violating her. And I'm like, he's probably just a crazy person. So in my first video on psychic self-defense and magic and whatever, I really went into that. I was like, hold on, before we start creating stories about other people, chances are most people who are unconsciously wielding magic or working with forces are mentally diseased, disabled, they have something going on. Don't give them, don't write a story for them where there's this powerful person where you're the victim. So she was really playing the victim. So, long story short, weeks go by. I do some psychic work just out of curiosity because I found myself in a higher level of reality. So I did some energetic work and then, gave her some positive life coaching feedback to ground her into reality. And I thought things were good. Then, where she comes to my work that is not metaphysical related. And in a weird way, she asked for help. And I ask my spiritual team if they'll assist her. And I'm very visual because I'm a visual artist. So my ally shows up and offers her something to eat. And then she doesn't take it. She's all scared. And then she tells me she lost her abilities to channel light language. And I'm like, okay, whatever. You're disempowered. You come all the way to my work. You're all about these stories that are stupid, that are drama, that's gossip, where you're the star and you're a victim. I'm losing my patience here. And now I go to the trouble of asking the powers that work with me to assist you. Not to mention, I already did a very powerful cleansing, healing, and cord cutting on you, free of charge. And you're not going to now take the assistance from the spirit that works with me, who can easily deal with whatever's going on in your life. I was like, my ego was like, get the fuck out of my face. And you deserve what's going on. So, lesson learned, don't help people. Kind of. And then, kind of ego talking, but then there's truths. You'd understand. Well, anyways, moving on. So, I let her hold a stone for a while just to balance her out and clear. And then that stone made me super sick. Just because the energies are different. It's not good or bad or anything. So we can't judge light and dark, good and evil, like morality. That's religion. And religion has seeped into spirituality and actual magic. So I'm like, okay, she's obviously a new ager. She's starting to fit the classic profile. Doesn't have a life, doesn't have a boyfriend, doesn't have something to stay for herself. So, she's over the hill, and now she's trying to deal with reality, the cold hard truth of reality. What's open? Spiritualism / new age / whatever. So now it's all kind of making sense. She's fitting the classic profile. I'm like, whatever. I mean, that's the negative. That's the cynical, sarcastic, skeptical, critical side. And you can use that. And you should use that. To decipher, to discern, to gain clarity, and balance that with the other side of being open, receptive, non-judgmental, caring, and compassionate. You put the two together, the two snakes go together, and then you see three-dimensionally what's up. So yes, I can see she's disempowered. Yes, she does not have true magical training. Yes, she's interested in all these things. And now she's dealing with things that are bigger than herself, like unwanted astral visitors. Because it seems like there's a lot of posers, there's a lot of fakes, there's a lot of frauds, there's a lot of well-wishing, hopeful people who assume the role of psychic, of healer, metaphysician, channel, and they don't really, no one is ever telling anyone, you know what, it's going to take you a good 20 years to master your craft of whatever you think it is. So yeah, you're channeling your angel. You need to, with that type of energy, spiritual energy hits physicality, and physicality splats. And so in order to accommodate spiritual energy, you have to do a psychological cleanup. You have to do a lifestyle cleanup. So in the conversation, she says, well, maybe I shouldn't drink. I'm like, yeah, why on earth would you think that's not gonna, you're doing all this spiritual work, you're doing sacred geometry, Merkaba meditations, you're channeling, you're now working in a spiritual store, handling crystals. Do you think they're just objects? Do you think the energies you're playing with is something you can just handle? Like, you're being bombarded by a whole room, large room full of a variety of crystals. And then, so you drinking in your off time is fucking with your chakras. It's fucking with everything that you're trying to do. You're trying to ascend and integrate and connect with the central sun and all this new age blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what else are you doing? Because when I met you, you were also gossiping about me to the other workers at that store and you told me some negative stuff about their opinions of me. They don't know me. So you're not conscious of the power of the word, and then you say you lost the ability to channel light language. I'm like, well, you're a gossip. And now you say you were violated. Well, you violated yourself. You're taking in substances that aren't true to the new path that you're on. So you're halfway in and you're halfway out. Then you come to me for assistance, and then you don't fully jump through the hoops. If you want to be the boss, go be the boss. If you want to save yourself, go save yourself. Tell me how to save yourself. Or do you actually want the lifeguard to throw you the rope and drag you back to shore? Because you're asking for help. I go, you walked into my store. You came to me. You're basically asking me for assistance. And then you have the audacity to think about it. I'm like, I know you feel violated, but you obviously came to me because you sense my spiritual power. I'm like, and so then I got curious. I got online. I'm like, let's learn about this light language. Let's see what's going on here. Because I assume they're just like channeling whatever they see and feel and blah, 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 blah. Turns out it's kind of true. There's a lot of fraud light language speakers. There's a lot of fraud new age healers, energy healers. They're fraudulent because they're delusional. They're fraudulent because they have nothing to back up their personal power with, like an education in the Kabbalah, or maybe years of channeling and doing readings. Like, yeah, maybe that is your direction. So the one girl goes, I'm channeling light. I don't channel angels. I'm channeling my higher self. She says it in a very relaxed tone that's not sincere. So if you really look at micro expressions, it's like she's laughing at you. There's these inflections of, I'm deceiving you, and here we go, and I'm enjoying the attention. I'm like, that's a real thing. I would say if you're really sincere, you're going to get positive results. And if you're sincere, you're going to probably practice. So I looked at the light codes and the light language, and I'm like, oh my God, I was doing that in elementary school. Literally elementary school. Taking my watercolor paint and writing in Atlantean. I was letting my creative imagination flow. I was allowing myself to channel as a kid. I'm like, this isn't the fucking 70s. And then I put it away. I was like, I'm not going to establish a career on channeling Atlantean language. I was doing it as a creative exercise just for fun. And so, yeah, just because I'm going to have to just use myself as an example. Just because you've had some psychic experiences, just because you remember like 5 of your past lives, just because you're into energy and chakras and self-development, doesn't make you a good practitioner. Doesn't make you special. You're always a student. You're always a student, no matter what level. However far you get, you realize there's a whole nother mountain range. You realize it's the first step. So we can like kind of throw away arrogance. But and then I really just want to say, it really doesn't matter what you do. Yes, I believe some people are natural channels, and yes, people are naturally gifted. I have a friend, she's really gifted. Like, she's just natural. She's like a Pisces Aries. She's born on the cusp. And her moon is in Cancer. So she's like a double water sign. And she has Jupiter in Scorpio, so it's going to expand that Scorpion energy. So she is hardwired with spiritual gifts. But undisciplined and raw talent isn't useful. Someone who's really disciplined can go even farther. If you have raw talent and you're disciplined, means you take time to practice your craft and master it and make it elegant, then you go so far. There's no limits. So I'm just kind of looking at what's going on around me. And it seems to be like a whole bunch of good intentions paving the way to hell. Now I really understand. While anytime I say something like I'm gonna meditate or I'm gonna use chakras, people just go, "You're crazy." Because there's a lot of people who are basically crazy in the new age world. It's like, so their reference of woo woo, their reference of silliness, madness, stupidity, uh, is pretty accurate. So it's almost like we have to work harder to clean that up if you want. I mean, I'm kind of like, whatever. It's like there's a whole bunch of crappy artists. There really are. And then there's a few good artists, you know? And then we have like legends. So I guess it depends upon what you want to be. Do you want to be an artist? Do you want to be a legend? I'm kind of going for the legend. So, anyways, moving on. So, we kind of think that a healing, this is like a real kind of shift in the conversation and perspective, but it's still part of it. I'm letting you know how I work. I've noticed that when I don't have the pressure to show up for an appointment, for like a psychic reading, a magical healing, whatever it is, if I'm just in that creative space, in my own flow, all the information comes to me. And I can do things so fast, not being in the office, not sitting in front of someone talking, not flipping cards. And so it's like we have this idea of how a healing session goes. You know, I have a business card, I throw down the cards, and we do this for 30 minutes. And, you pay me for my time, and we all call it good, love and light, right? And I'm like, that's so not my style. My style is like today I just woke up. And actually the day before, after handling that stone that I let that lady touch and work with for a minute, it made me sick. I had to go home from work early. I was sick, and then I guess I went to sleep. You know, when I woke up, all lights were on, like spiritually, like the my the I call it the portal. It's above your crown chakra. It's like an interdimensional stargate. It's like a stargate. I call it a stargate portal. That was open completely. It was awesome. This bright fuchsia color, and then all these gold orbs and threads, like geometry stuff was above my head. I just woke up like that. I was like, oh shit. Thank God today's my day off. I get to explore this. So I spent the day meditating, playing with crystals, going on walks, doing my trance walks, all part of my development stuff of what I like to do. And then, the day was going out longer. The guy, is ignoring me. So the mundane stuff, I'm like, I'm going to have to be patient until my sweetheart wants to come back and realize he's in love with me, or I start a new adventure with somebody else. Because I don't really stay attached. I'm not nostalgic, really, and I don't. So it was a really cool day because it was all about detachment, letting go, and tuning in. Then finally at the end, I just, close my eyes and I go back to my third eye, and I see this beautiful citrine gold color. And I'm like, awesome. And then I text the lady. I was like, this is what you need to do to reclaim your channeling abilities that you think you lost. Because I already knew. Um, I knew that rutilated quartz would help realign her to that ability if she wants it. Then I didn't get a response back. Of course not. Because she's really not invested in her spirituality. She's still just a person who's toying with spirituality, maybe trying it on as a new identity. And that happens a lot. People find an identity that is better than their real self. They go, well, being a psychic sounds cool. And I get to wear these things and I'm like, yeah, but let's just be honest here. You're trying it on. You're working with it, but you are not it. Like to be it, you go through a transformation. So things, if you're living a 3D lifestyle, you're resisting the transformation of fully becoming it. And I say that with attitude because I had to cross that barrier. I go, why do you want to be a psychic? Besides, you want to explore and use your brain as an advanced piece of technology, which is like number one. But the other one that I thought was my motivator was I really want to be of service. Sounds nice. Actually, let's chop that up into some dirtier language. I felt like I couldn't be of use to anyone. So if I could somehow be used, somehow give them answers that we all need, well, then I would be useful and then I would fit in. Like then I would have value to my parents, to my family, to my community. So it can start off seemingly an ego vocabulary that you can look at a little deeper. Well, that is actually a good idea. Let's learn to open up and bring in new information to help others. That's service. So it's like your ego and your real self shake hands, and there's an alchemy that goes on. You want to feel valued, yes. And how you choose to feel valued is to be of higher service, yes. Great. Well, guess what? There's a lot of work. So nothing can replace a mentor. And that mentor can be from any type of skill, talent. And you see that, so it could be a master chef. If you really look at the hours that they put into it and their natural talent of aroma, smells, taste, and temperatures, and finessing the material, creating that work of art, if you would do your light work like that, like this mentor that you have, it could be a sports player. If you put in the hours, you put in the time, you put in the focus, the seriousness, the dedication, you're going to be awesome. And that's where I come from. I come from a martial art background. My mentor was awesome. He was like a national champion back in the day, obviously. But as a young person, I was blown away. And he had a degree in nutrition and he had a degree in engineering, and he applied this to his martial arts. He was half Chinese, he loved his heritage, and he's been doing martial arts for like over 20 years when I met him. And he was like a third degree black belt, and he was running his own studio, and that's dedication. And I met the new grandmaster because the old grandmaster died, but that guy was amazing. And how many hours, how many sacrifices, because you love it. It's a part of you, it is you, but you just enjoy it so much. So your work has to be kind of a labor of love. And you plan on spending your whole life doing it because it's a source of joy for you. Like, and so that's what that's the type of stuff you get from a mentor, from a really awesome person. And you should be able to follow in those footsteps in your craft, whatever it is. It could be something simple like being, you know, being the best brother, being the best parent, being the best mechanic, uh, being the best tarot reader. Like, if you can take your craft serious, you're going to get some serious results. So, you know, a lot of it is about attitude, but that attitude needs to be like real. So this video is going to cut out, and I really think we went into it. And I'm just asking you to turn a critical eye on yourself and your lifestyle and make the adjustments so you can have the success that you need, so you can be a person of power.